lovely people. It's your host, Simple, once again, and welcome back to Smart Sports Studio, where we don't just read results, we read what they do to the table. And today, the football gods were in a mischievous mood. Points were dropped, leads were protected, and a few big teams got reminded that reputation doesn't defend set pieces. Let's go league by league, match by match, and break down the impact, the pros and cons, and what it means for the weekend narrative, plus a quick look ahead to tomorrow's fixtures. We start with the Premier League, because the title race is basically a thriller at this point. Aston Villa 1-1 leads. Villa were held at home, and that's the kind of draw that doesn't feel like a point gained. It feels like 2 points thrown into the bin with the lid closed. The upside for Villa is simple. They didn't lose, they showed resilience late, and they're still in the mix near the top end. The downside. These are the matches that quietly kill title dreams. When you're chasing the very top, you don't just need big wins, you need routine wins. And home draws against teams fighting down the table are the ones you regret in April when you're doing what-if maths like it's your new hobby. Table impact. Villa staying in the top 3 conversation is good, but the gap to the leaders doesn't shrink if you're not stacking 3 points. Chelsea 1-1 Burnley. Chelsea dropping points again, and the story here is control turning into chaos, plus discipline issues that keep inviting trouble. The positive. Chelsea got in front, and they're still sitting in the top 4 fight. The negative. When you keep losing points from winning positions, it shows a pattern. Either game management, concentration, or emotional control. And top 4 races punish patterns. For Burnley, this is huge. Any point away at a big ground is a survival booster. For Chelsea, this is another "we made it hard for ourselves" episode. Chelsea fans are tired of plot twists. They want a simple ending. Manchester City 2-1 Newcastle. City did what City do. Win the match that keeps the title pressure on the leaders. The key takeaway is this. City don't need perfection right now. They need momentum. They got the 3 points, and that's what matters. For Newcastle, the performance can be praised in parts, but the table doesn't hand out points for encouraging spells. If you're trying to climb toward Europe, you have to turn these tough fixtures into draws at minimum. Table impact. City closing the gap makes every remaining Arsenal match feel heavier. When City win, Arsenal don't just play opponents, they play the scoreboard. Now, quick look ahead for England. Tomorrow, you've got Liverpool versus Nottingham Forest, and Liverpool will be watching these dropped points thinking, this is our chance to climb. You've also got Arsenal versus Tottenham, and that's massive. Arsenal can't afford a sloppy emotional derby performance with City breathing. Spurs will treat it like a season-defining night because that's what derbies do. They turn normal pressure into everything pressure. And then Manchester United versus Everton on Monday could reshape the top 4 chase again. Now we go to Spain. And yes, this is the shock that changes weekend narratives. Madrid had the chance to extend control at the top, and instead they got dragged into a battle where Osasuna were brave, organised, and ruthless when it mattered. The biggest early swing came from a VAR penalty decision. Osasuna got the penalty, Budimir converted, and suddenly the whole match becomes a different sport. Madrid are chasing, Osasuna are defending with purpose and countering with real belief. Madrid did respond eventually. Vinicius Jr. got the equaliser later in the match, and when that went in, you could feel the Madrid late winner script loading. But here's where Madrid got punished. Concentration and risk management. In stoppage time, Madrid made a costly error in possession, Osasuna countered, and Raúl Garcia delivered the winning goal, with VAR confirming it stood. That's the kind of ending that kills you because it's not tactical genius. It's a lapse, punished at the worst moment. Pros for Madrid. They still have the quality, and one defeat doesn't end a title race. Cons. You've now handed Barcelona psychological advantage, because Barcelona don't just see points, they see a chance to flip the top of the table. And the moment your rival smells vulnerability, pressure doubles. For Barcelona, even before they play, the message is clear. If we win, We control. That's how title races turn. The real headline is this: comebacks, collapses, and back-to-back alarms. Because this weekend wasn't calm, it was chaotic, emotional, and table-shifting. Atletico Madrid 4. Espanyol 2 was not just a win, it was a statement of mentality. Atletico actually started the game on the back foot. Espanyol struck early, and for a moment you could feel that familiar tension in the stadium, the kind where fans start whispering, "Is this going to be one of those nights?" Atletico looked slightly stretched defensively, and Espanyol's pressing disrupted their early rhythm. But here's what separates Atletico under pressure. They don't panic, they recalibrate. The equaliser came through Alexander Sørloth, who has quietly become one of the most reliable focal points in Simeone's system. He doesn't just score, he occupies defenders, creates space, and gives Atletico that vertical threat they sometimes lacked in previous seasons. Now let's talk about Ademola Lookman, because his impact deserves serious attention. Lookman has brought a different layer to Atletico's attack. He's direct, fearless in one-on-one situations, and he gives Atletico width without sacrificing defensive work rate. Against Espanyol, he wasn't just a winger hugging the line. He was cutting inside, combining in tight spaces, and forcing defenders into difficult decisions. His goal in this match showed exactly what he adds: timing, intelligence in the box, and composure. But beyond the goal, it's his movement that's transforming Atletico's transitions. When Atletico win the ball, Lookman immediately looks forward. That changes the speed of their counterattacks. Suddenly, Atletico aren't just a defensive machine, they're explosive. When Atletico win the ball, Lookman immediately looks forward. Suddenly, Atletico aren't just a defensive machine, they're explosive. By the time Sørloth grabbed his second, the game was emotionally over. Espanyol pulled one back late, but the damage was done. What does this mean for the table? Atletico strengthened their grip on Champions League qualification, and with performances like this, they remain dangerous outsiders in the title conversation. The pro, attacking confidence and resilience. The con, conceding 2 goals at home, shows there are still defensive lapses that need tightening. Juventus 0, Como 2. This result is massive, not because Juve lost, but because of how it felt. Como didn't win by accident. They capitalised on errors, they took their moments, and Juventus looked like a team carrying tension. The opening goal comes after a chain of mistakes, and the second just deepens the crisis mood. When you lose at home like that in a top 4 battle, it doesn't just drop points, it creates noise. Pros for Juventus. Sometimes a shock forces a reset. Cons. The table doesn't wait for your reaction. For Como, this is a statement. Inter 2. Lecce 0. Inter did what champions do. Patience, control, late kill. This wasn't fireworks early, but it was professional. Mkhitaryan broke the deadlock and Akanji sealed it. That's title behaviour. Bayern 3, Frankfurt 2. Bayern looked like they were cruising. Pavlovic scores, Kane scores again, and you think it's done. Then Bayern do that thing where they suddenly remember entertainment exists. Frankfurt pull one back, then another, and suddenly Bayern are defending like it's a cup final. The win is huge, but the late wobble is the little warning that gets discussed in training. Kill games. Leipzig 2, Dortmund 2. This one had drama. Leipzig went 2-0 up, Dortmund looked in trouble, then an own goal gave them hope, and deep into stoppage time, Fabio Silva rescued the draw. Mentality is impressive, but draws don't catch leaders. Lens 2, Monaco 3. Lens were 2-0 up at home as league leaders. Then they collapsed. Balogun and Zakaria dragged Monaco back, and then Ansu Fati popped up with the winning goal. A painful lesson in game management. PSG 3, Metz 0. PSG responded like champions. Controlled, clean, and no drama. Doué and Barcola did damage early, and PSG handled the match like a team that wants the title and doesn't want excuses. Now, quick look ahead to tomorrow because the weekend isn't finished, it's just loading. Liverpool versus Nottingham Forest is huge for the top 4 push. Atalanta versus Napoli is a direct European clash, a swing match. Barcelona versus Levante now becomes even bigger because Madrid dropped points. Arsenal versus Tottenham is the headline. Title pressure meets derby chaos. AC Milan versus Parma is a must-win to keep pressure on the top. And Manchester United versus Everton on Monday, that's the type of match that quietly reshapes the top 4 race when everyone else is already done playing. So my lovely people, I want your predictions. Does Arsenal handle the derby pressure, or does Spurs turn it into madness? Does Barcelona take advantage of Madrid's slip? Drop it in the comments, like, subscribe and share. I am simple. Peace and love for the game.